All right, we're continuing our discussion on the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali, and we are discussing, we're on the portion on contemplation, the fifth sutra, which is Vrittayaha, which is modifications, Panyakatayaha, the fivefold, Klishta, which means painful, and Klishtoho, which means are painless. Okay, which translates, there are 5 kinds of mental modifications which are either painful or painless. Okay, and the author starts off saying that Patanjali states there are 5 kinds of vrittis, and so these 5 kinds, and these are grouped into 2 different categories. Those that either bring us pain or those that bring us pleasure. And there's 5 of them. Pramana, which is valid cognition. Viparaya, which is misconception. The 3rd, Vikalpa, imagination. The 4th is Nidra, which is deep sleep. And 5, Smriti, which is memory. Okay, and these 5 are divided into, again, 2 categories, either cause pain or pleasure. All right, and the author writes, even a so-called pleasurable thought might ultimately bring us pain. For example, our pity at another's suffering certainly causes us pain, but ultimately expands our hearts and minds and gives us more understanding and leaves us in peace. But if you watched my other video where we talked about this actually earlier, that having pity is actually a form of violence because you're doing what? You're not trusting the other person. So it expands our hearts, it gives us more understanding and leaves us in peace. But is that really the right thing to do? Anyways, we'll move on. All right. Instead of these terms, painful and painless, we might be able to understand this point better if we use 2 other words. All right, selfish and selfless thoughts. All right, where the selfish thoughts ultimately bring pain. For example, to love something or somebody is pleasurable, but many of you have experienced how the very same love brought you a lot of unhappiness, pain, hatred, jealousy, and so on. Why? Because that love was not just a pure love, but was based on some expectation in return. So there was selfishness in it, and that causes you pain. On the other hand, this is my favorite part. Alright, I thought like anger might bring pain in the beginning. The anger of a selfless person has no personal motive behind it. Although that anger may cause somebody to feel bad in the beginning, it ultimately helps that person to correct himself or herself and to lead a better life. I like that. Then I can feel good about being angry. Alright. Whatever the thought is, if there is no selfishness behind it, it can never really bring pain to the person concerned. The result is neither pain nor pleasure, but peace. Seeing this truth, we should analyze all our motives and try to cultivate selfless thoughts. That is our first and foremost duty. And I love this next part. The author goes on to say, we say to the mind, all right, if you want to create some thought forms, go ahead. But if you create thoughts that will bring you pain, you are the one who will suffer. If you are selfish, you will suffer later on. I don't want to kill you. I am your friend. I am interested in your welfare and peace. So please listen to me. Do not create thoughts that will rebound on you. Forget your selfishness. Make others happy, and you will be the happiest person. By seeing others happy, you can't be unhappy. But by making everybody unhappy, you can never be happy yourself. So at least for your happiness, bring happiness to others. If you really want to be selfish in the idea of retaining your peace. There is no harm in that selfishness, because by that you are not going to harm anybody. Instead, you will be bringing the same peace to others. If the mind says, I can't be selfless, I must be selfish, tell it, all right, go to the other extreme and be selfish in refusing to disturb your own peace. In our daily lives, we always work with these 2 categories of thoughts. Now we know that selfish thoughts will bring misery and selfish ones leave us in peace. How are we to know whether our thoughts are selfless or not? We have to watch carefully the moment a thought form arises in the mind. We become analysts. This itself is yoga practice, watching our own thoughts and analyzing them. And that is one of the important purposes behind meditation. So, if you're on this channel, you probably know that I do a live meditation every day on my Instagram account. And the link is in this video down below in the comments. But join me every day at 12:45 to about 1 o'clock. I do a live meditation. Sometimes I'm a bit late getting on because I do it on my lunch break. And if those of you, that work, things happen. You can't just tell your boss, I have this exact at 12:45. I teach preschool, so it kind of depends on what's happening in my class at that time. Sometimes I'm a few minutes late, but anyway, so every day of the week I do a 10-minute live meditation. Join us. It's important to do that daily practice so that you get into the habit of learning how to be the observer, right? Like when you're arguing with a person, it really helps if you're able to get yourself out of that argument and just kind of observe, and then you can just be like, whoa, what am I saying? What am I, why am I arguing with this person? I want this relationship to work. And I don't know about you, but I know for me, a lot of times when I argue, I'm not letting that person have the freedom to see me as they choose to. They see me a certain way. I've done something and they've misconstrued it to be a certain way, and I'm trying to argue that that's not what I meant. This is what I did, and then it gets heated, and like the African proverb goes, when the elephants fight, it's the grass that suffers. Let me know in the comments how you're liking these book discussions, particularly like this one with the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali. It's a great book. Get it. Let me know in the comments what your thoughts on that one were. And all right. Namaste.